Hello guys, my name's Rui and I'm here with my friend Ashvin. Say hello Ashvin.
Hey guys,
What are we doing today Ashvin?
so today we're going to be talking about how does Priestley present the different attitudes of Mr. Burling and the inspector. So guys, now I'm going to introduce you to Mr. Burling. His full name is Arthur Burling, and at the start of the play, he is described as a heavy-looking and rather portentous man. He is in his middle 50s and he's rather provincial in his speech. Mr. Arthur Burling is a new money kind of guy. He wasn't born rich, but he worked hard, and since his business succeeded, he became rich.
Next up is Inspector Ghoul. He is described on his entrance as creating an impression of massiveness, solidity, and purposefulness. He is a man in his 50s dressed in a plain darkish suit. He speaks carefully and has a disconcerting habit of looking hard at the person he addresses before actually speaking. The first difference we're going to talk about is good versus evil.
In this play, Inspector Ghoul represents the good side. He has been taking charge of many situations and stopping many non-influential things said or even implemented. One of the situations is when Mr. Burling was talking about his friends, and Mr. Ghoul didn't want any attention. He didn't like Mr. Burling's talk and he tried to stop it. Finally, Mr. Ghoul, or Inspector Ghoul, gave an inspirational speech to the family. However, they did not listen. Inspector Ghoul tried to warn them. He tried his best to warn them in the future of what will happen if they did not change their behavior. But yet, they did not listen.
Mr. Burling, on the other hand, represents evil. In this play, he is extremely selfish. In the party in Act 1, he claims that it was one of his happiest nights of his life. Not because his daughter Sheila was getting married, but because she was getting married to Gerald Croft, the son of Mr. Croft. Mr. Croft is the boss of Croft Limited. The Burling Company and Croft Limited had been rivals for the past many years, and this would open many opportunities for Burling and Croft Limited to work together. It shows that he is not a good man and only cares about his company, money, and himself. Capitalism. Mr. Burling represented a capitalist society. He thinks you should look after yourself, and that's what he told his son Eric and Gerald. He said a man has to make his own way, has to look after himself. That shows that he is a capitalist. He is proud that he is likely to be knighted, and he brags about it to Gerald. This would move him to an even higher post in social circles. He is only interested in shifting the blame from his direction, and he feels no responsibility. This shows that he doesn't want to get involved in other people's problems and only cares for himself.
Socialism. In this play, socialism is not emphasized as much as capitalism. Inspector Ghoul is a socialist. The inspector feels that we are all responsible for each other. Unlike Mr. Burling, the inspector wants everyone in the play to care for each other and think about other people and not just yourself. in the end, he mentioned a speech, and the speech was like a sermon or a politician's, which really implied that he was a socialist. Methods. Priestley used two very different methods to represent Mr. Arthur Burling and Inspector Go. During the start of the play, when the two characters met, Mr. Burling speaks very posh towards the inspector. This is only to try and intimidate him and to make himself look great and superior. One of the quotes that Mr. Burling mentioned was, "Oh, just before he came, I've been giving this young man a little advice." The inspector, on the other hand, proves to be uninterested and he speaks very carefully with short replies. The inspector is a very systematic person, as he only works with one person at a time. He does his job really professionally. And one of the quotes that was mentioned by him was, "I think you remember Eva Smith now, don't you, Mr. Burling?" This shows that these types of questions require a detailed answer, and not something a normal policeman would not request.
There is also a difference in the two characters' attitudes. Burling's attitude to everything means everything has to be of high standards. For example, when the inspector arrives, Mr. Burling is very uptight as he cares for his reputation, especially with his knighthood coming up. He says, "I might find my way onto the next honours list." Just a knighthood, of course. Burling sees a knighthood as a fair reward for his involvement in local politics. The inspector, on the other hand, is a very laid back and takes everything in his stride.
In conclusion, Burling and the inspector are two opposite characters.
Priestley used Burling and his views as the audience and the inspector as himself, because Priestley is a socialist, hoping he could change their views as it would help society right after the war. So guys, we've come to the end of the video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you do, please smash the like button. If there's anything we missed out, please let us know in the comment section below. Do share it with all your friends, and see ya!